Hi everyone, this is Jason at Chartmetric. Today we're going to check out the artist page. This is our bread and butter. When you log in, you'll see your dashboard first. Don't worry if you don't see anything if you're a new user, and if you are a new user, welcome. But this is your dashboard where when you follow an artist or a track or an album or a playlist or a curator of playlists, you can have all those things in front of you, kind of see all their KPIs, which we'll cover in another tutorial. But for this one, just go straight to artists, click on that. Then from artists, let's just choose one from here. Let's see, let's do Maluma. He's number 18 by Spotify followers right now. You can click over to his artist page, and this is where you can get all kinds of information about Maluma. So Maluma is a Colombian reggaeton artist. As you can see, we have a picture of him. A lot of the things up here are quick KPIs on the left about this artist, latest release, genre, similar artists as well as social media links, and the streaming services that we have links to from that artist. If you want to see his YouTube channel, you can just click to that, and you'll see that here. You will see social media links. If you click on edit, you will see the artist's social accounts here. You can change them here if you'd like, or if maybe you manage this artist and you switch Instagram platforms, for example, you can change that, click save, and be done with it. And then from there, we can track information from there. But this is essentially the kind of top page of the artist page. If you scroll down, you will see the social. These are all daily changes for Wikipedia, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and Spotify. These change every 24 hours. And then you'll see a lot of our social platform charts here. Maluma has a lot. Some artists have less if they're not on all platforms. But for example, you see Spotify followers. You can change time frame if you'd like. I know you see two lines here. For these, when you see the dotted line, this is the total of whatever we're measuring, and the solid line, which is usually more jagged, that's going to be the daily change. As you can see here, we have flags at the bottom of our charts. For example, the E's are events, the R's are for releases. Maluma released Arms Around You, looks like on October 24th of last year, and you can kind of see, did this release have any effect on Spotify followers or Instagram followers or Facebook fans, whichever chart you happen to be looking at. And that's one way you can use our platform. That's pretty cool. And don't forget, you can also use the dates, the from and to dates here if you don't care for these particular presets that we have, which are 1 month, 3 month, 6 month, 1 year, and all. All will, of course, vary depending on when we started tracking this particular artist's platform. But that's something for you to know. Scrolling down, we have audience. In the audience section, we have all kinds of information on the people that are listening to the artist you're looking at. So right now for Maluma, we have top cities by listeners for the Spotify platform. As you can see, we have Mexico City, Santiago, Buenos Aires, Lima, and Zapopan, as well as 45 other cities in this big light blue block here. And on the right, you can see these are basically changes day to day for each of these segments on the left. So they are related. The colors are not related, but you can see by the name here which ones correspond to which. Again, you can change the time frame as well. And you can see basically on the Spotify platform who's listening the most to Maluma. For YouTube video views by country and city, that is exactly what it is. It's set up the same as Spotify top listeners. A lot more slices of the pie here. YouTube platform, top ones look to be Mexico, Argentina, the US, Colombia, and Peru. And you can see the daily changes here. Again, you can always change the time frame as well. And these are by city just below it. Same idea. We have Lima, Bogota, Mexico City, Santiago, and Quito. After that, if you're interested in Instagram, we have for a lot of our top artists, basically a Instagram follower analysis. So for all the followers for a given artist, now if you scroll over the what's this, which is a good note, by the way, for anytime you may be confused by some kind of pie chart or bar chart and you're not sure what it means, please just scroll over the what's this. Of course, you can always reach out to us at hi@chartmetric.io or go to help.chartmetric.io. But you can see here, we got this data set from Deep Social. Unfortunately, they discontinued in August of 2018. So this is static information, but still useful in a lot of ways. You can get at least a basic idea at this time what this artist's Instagram followers look like in a lot of different ways. So by country, by city, but also by gender, by age, by language, ethnicity, and interest. Deep Social was a really cool provider that did a lot of visual and text analysis and used a lot of data science to be able to come to such metrics here. So we have that. Again, it's static to August 2018, but a cool thing for some of our most popular artists on the Chartmetric platform. And last but not least, we got Facebook fans by country. Again, we have the segments, the percentages by country on the left in a pie chart, and on the right, the daily change. After that, we've got radio airplay. For this airplay, this is 300 curated American radio stations, terrestrial radio stations, as well as a few XM Sirius satellite stations that we had curated. If you click on this, you can go to our radio station list. You'll get more information on the types of radio stations that we have. We rate them, a lot of them, by AQH, which, if you're not familiar, it stands for average quarter hour persons, which is essentially the amount of people that's listening in a 15-minute period. If you want to get into how that's measured, basically you can click on that and you'll see a blog entry we wrote about. Essentially, there's a list of stations that basically selected to show the top 40, hot AC, rhythmic, alternative rock, country, a lot of the artists and radio formats that our Chartmetric users are most interested in. We picked those stations along with our data provider for this data set, which is named Radio Wave. They are radio experts and helped us put together this list of stations. You can research more here if you'd like. But to get back to it, we have radio spins by day. These are the totals on the left. Again, you can always change the time frame however you'd like to. It looks like Maluma started to get really big in the States come November of last year. And after that, you can basically just see on the right the daily top 10 stations for any of those days, which is pretty cool. So you can see on January 11th of 2019, most popular in Texas, Ohio, California. And below that, you'll see top markets, or if you click this toggle button, you can see top states. So essentially what's happening here is we're looking at the top 10 states by spins, depending on if you're looking either market or by state. Obviously here by state. Let's just go back to markets real quick. By markets, we mean the radio industry definition of markets. A lot of times you'll have radio stations with certain reaches in terms of their antenna strength. And so it doesn't usually falls into a city or a couple of cities, but sometimes, like for example, Denver, Boulder, and Colorado, 432 spins of Maluma. This is just something to be aware of in case you might be confused between states and markets. Again, you have the changes day to day on the right to look at the percentage change. And below this, you'll see top 10 markets or states by market share. And by market share, what we mean in this case is not necessarily by the radio term of markets, but by if we split, let's say, a certain day, or in this case, the total amount of spins that the artist has in our kind of top 300 radio stations, this is how it breaks out percentage-wise. For example, in McAllen, Texas, they really love Maluma. They have 6%, a little bit over 6% of the market share for all the spins that we have for Maluma. So you can kind of see, which markets in this case are the most popular with a particular artist. And below that, you'll see details. Feel free to click a row to expand it if you want. You can see air dates and air times if you really want to get into the nitty and gritty. But you can kind of, filter by AQH, by format. You could even search for certain songs. I like Corazon. That's a really good song. It looks like they're still spinning that in McAllen, of course. So good for him. Below that is to our playlist section. So playlists, we have top influencers on Spotify. This is a special... Essentially, we look at all the different curators on Spotify and we look through all the playlists that each curator have. For this particular artist page, how many playlists are they on? How many followers are on those playlists? And we basically calculate, who are the 9 most important curators on Spotify that are playing this particular artist. We have an influencer score here, number of playlists reaching kind of like an aggregate playlist follower reach. And of those, we have 63 playlists that have over 27 million followers for this particular artist, which is Maluma. So that's good to know in case you want to kind of click into, let's say, Topsify and just take a look in, information on the curator. Are there other playlists that they have that this artist, I might want to pitch my artist or to, some other playlist that this curator has because this curator is really interested in this kind of artist or this kind of type of music, which is super interesting. So this is the Topsify page, the curator page right here. So after top influencers on Spotify, we have the Spotify playlist evolution. And you can see all the different types of playlists an artist is on. Again, you can also change the time frame here. You can see obviously in late October, he had a huge jump in followers. So the blue line is the aggregate number of followers in all the playlists that artist is on. And the orange line is the amount of playlists they're on total. So you'll see that here. And obviously a big spike in followers like this usually coincides with a huge playlist ad. And you can see in this particular case on the right that it was Hot Hits UK. It had 2.3 million followers. Had a big effect on him, as well as It's a Hit. That was 2 million followers. The idea is you can kind of, if we focus in a little bit, I think it was October of 2018. Whoops, a little too far. We started to see a big increase, and we see that here. So you can kind of like track it down to, these flags, which you can click on and off, which is pretty cool. We can see, for example, this R here, Arms Around You with Maluma and Sway Lee. We have here, and you can look at all these these plus signs are different ads, which is pretty cool. It will show you the, basically the quote unquote album art or playlist art for these particular playlists there. If you click on it, you can also click on these too. If you feel like your timeline is a little too crowded, you can, show the ads, take them out, show the removes, got taken off of Arabex on October 26th, and just kind of treat the graph as a customizable chart on the go that you can kind of customize to your will. But then we also, don't forget on the place updates, you can click on added removed on the right here as well. So, and then after that, we have Spotify current playlists. You can always click on the row again for most of our charts to see more information, position change over time, for example. Just so you know, we show the playlist ad in the past year, and that's basically to improve performance of the website. We have a lot of data dating back to November 2016. So, if we loaded everything, it would just weigh the site down way too much and not make your experience so great. So we always try to optimize between, the most information and the easiest way to understand, but also for performance as well. You can always export some of this in a CSV if you want to do your own information analysis. And you can also click show everything if you want to kind of reload the page and show current playlists into all of them. It will do that for you, but it's just something to be aware of, that it'll take an extra few seconds depending on the artists, especially if they have just a ton of playlists and have been active for quite a long time. After Spotify current playlists, we have Spotify recommended playlists. You can click it to see. You have to reload the page somewhat because this basically shows, if you scroll this, what's this? A lot of other playlists that has a lot of this artist related artists on. So essentially, for example, for Global Top 50, which Maluma apparently is not on right now, Ozuna is a similar artist and has Baila 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 on this playlist, and this is information on the playlist. So, if you're pitching your artist to, artists to a certain playlist that week, this is a good way to kind of get an idea of where else maybe you'd like to pitch them. Below that is Apple Music current playlists. Self-explanatory, a little bit less information because we don't get as much information from Apple Music as we do from Spotify. But we have the storefront for Apple Music because if you remember, Apple Music has different storefronts for whatever the user storefront is. So if I'm in Colombia, I'll see the Colombia, Latino Caliente version. But if I'm in the US, I might see the US version of the Latino Caliente version. And they do differ. They can differ. They can be the same, but a lot of times they differ as well, because that's just how storefronts work. They tailor the information for each playlist for each country. Spotify is not like that. They'll usually explicitly make different playlists. But for your information, if you didn't know, Apple Music does make different types of playlists with the same name depending on the user's country. You have position, the added date, and the number of days in the list here. These are Apple Music past playlists. Pretty self-explanatory. Past that, we have Deezer current playlists. Also pretty self-explanatory. We do have followers for Deezer, which is great. And don't forget, whenever you see the icon of the platform, you can always click on it, and we'll link out to that actual playlist or track or artist YouTube channel or whatever it is you're looking to. Which is pretty cool. So this, for example, is the Top Denmark Deezer playlist that Maluma is on. Deezer past playlist, pretty self-explanatory with an added removed column, of course. And after that is our chart section. So on the artist page, you can also see charts as well, as you can see them on our normal charts tool. But here we have it obviously just narrowed down to the different charts that this particular artist is on. So for Spotify's daily top 200 charts, we have a lot of information here. We have peak position, the peak date of the artist track, and also which country it's in, the peak number of streams, and the total number of streams for that track on this chart. This is the latest position here on the right, as well as the latest date, and also the number of entries. You can always click a number of entries to show all the different territories that this particular track is in and all the information there, and click it again to make it go away. You can toggle daily and weekly up here on the right for this particular one, and you can also CSV export if you'd like. This is basically the same except for the viral 50 on Spotify. Same idea though. We'll scroll down, Apple Music daily top 100 charts. And below that, Apple Music genre charts. You'll see the genre listed here in this column. And again, you can always click on the number of entries to see, latest change, latest position, peak position, territory, so on and so forth. Past that, we have iTunes genre charts for digital downloads. So we show pretty much information, everything you see here. Below that, we have Shazam charts, considered to be a great predictor of how well a track is going to perform out in the public space. Also by country as well here. And then we have Apple Music album charts. After that, iTunes album charts. Past that, we have our track section. So for tracks, this is basically, our default is descending release date from the most recent to the oldest, all the way to the bottom. You can scroll and skip the different pages here. But you basically have the track, album name, the label is released with, release date, ISRC, genres, so on and so forth. We have the number of playlists for the 3 streaming platforms that we're on at the time, which is all great. And you can also click on the row, and you can actually see Echo Nest kind of subjective musical traits for this particular track. This is basically values going from 0 to 100 in terms of energy, danceability. This is really cool from a branding perspective, because a lot of times, let's say you're trying to run a store, you want to have like high energy, you can kind of see what type of energy a certain track has, and maybe you can put it on a playlist. Well, last but not least, we have events, and for this particular artist, they're on Songkick. And Maluma looks like he most recently played a little bit before the holidays of last year in 2018, the American Airlines Arena in Miami. And it was him, Carlos Vives, Prince Royce, and Silvestre Dangond. And you can kind of scroll through and see like past concert history according to Soundkick, which is pretty cool. And if you really want to, you can kind of click through. And if you want to check out more information on, where exactly it was, you can click through and you'll see it on Songkick itself. But essentially, that's the artist page. There's a lot of information. Definitely our longest scroll, but that's because just a lot of our users just really value being able to look up artists and wanting to understand where they come from and, what are their most important KPIs. We put some of our own KPIs here as well. For example, we have a listeners to follower ratio, which you can always scroll over this question mark as well. which is basically the Spotify listener count divided by and by listener we mean monthly listener divided by the follower count. And you can kind of analyze that as you will. Please feel free to contact us if you want to try to understand some of the metrics that we have you might not see on other platforms. And essentially, this is our artist page in a nutshell. Oh, one more thing before I forget. Two more things before I forget. If you want to follow this artist, click on follow, and they'll show up in your dashboard. So, for example, if I just clicked on Maluma, and I can reload my dashboard here in my other tab, and boom, so you got Maluma. So that's how you populate your dashboard. That's something that's good for you to know. And then analyze is a custom chart that we make where you can basically take not Maluma's but any other artists and any of their information, which we'll make a different tutorial for this, but I can do like, let's say Maluma Facebook fans with like Ozuna. I'll click Ozuna and I'll compare that to his Instagram followers, and so basically you can see those two things graphed together here to kind of see if maybe there's some kind of relation, if there was some kind of collaboration they did where you can see some kind of like bump in statistics, which is pretty cool. That's really limited by just your creativity. But then if you go back, you can also see refresh data. So if you're not happy with something, let's say your Facebook fans or your Instagram followers count is not updated, maybe it's a couple days old because sometimes we have collection issues, you can basically force a refresh, and then hopefully it will take a second, but it'll force our scripts to go grab your fresh data for you, serve it up fresh for you. And if you don't see that update in a few seconds when the page reloads, please just feel free to reach out. We're happy to talk to you over a chat through our website. If you go to help.chartmetric.io, there's always if you ever go to help.chartmetric.io, you can always click on this little box here, and you can ask us a question. That's good old Michael Warner, and you can just ask a question, and we'll try to answer you real time, depending on if we're up. If just give us at least 24 hours to respond, and we'll definitely try to help you out with whatever problems you're having, which we hope you don't. But if you do, we're always there for you. So that's it. That's it for the artist page in a nutshell. Again, feel free to give us a shout whenever you'd like, and we'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye.